What's going on, family? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be discussing the much anticipated Antman and the Wasp, Quantumamia. And as a huge fan of the first one and a huge fan of the second one also, even though I don't think it lived up to the first one, I decided to go all out and obviously go and check this movie. I had to go check this out. Obviously, I've seen all the Marvel movies, and this was no exception. I was eagerly anticipating this film, given that it will be obviously on the big screen, no more pandemic, and they were going to give us the introduction or reintroduction to Kang in this various form, right? Kang the Conqueror. And I think I'm gonna start off by saying I think Jonathan Majors is just this man has come out of nowhere with a lot of his films. The Harder They Fall, Lovecraft Country, Devotion last year. He has the upcoming Creed that I know is gonna be amazing, and this movie here. And God, I just have to say he was exceptional. I think he shines as Kang the Conqueror, and the rest of the film pretty much falls on him. Although this is an Ant-Man movie, but the introduction of this character, we haven't seen anything like this since Thanos. And I can arguably say that this character has a little more gravitas to him than Thanos actually did. And the rest of the film shined as well when it came to anything related to Kang. Some of the narrative choices with Kang left me a bit chopping at the bit. But as far as positives, I'm just going to go and tell you Paul Rudd, to me, remains one of the most endearing characters in Marvel. He's endearing as ever. I'm so happy they gave him the keys to this franchise because although this is not one of those franchises that makes a lot of money, I feel like it's necessary. A lot of people don't think Ant-Man is necessary to the universe, and I think he is. MODOK, he was a tad jarring at first when I saw him on screen, but I like the tie into Yellow Jacket. And I'm not going to get into spoiler territory because I want you to enjoy that when you actually do see it on the film. But his arc, although it's not a long one in the movie, it was very interesting. The visuals in this movie are solid. It's a very colorful movie. The cinematography obviously was great because majority of this film is CG. Most of it is good, but some of it lacks, obviously. Very expensive film. Majors truly has, Kang has that magnetic presence on screen about him, and I found this to be true with a lot of his characters in his movies, Jonathan Majors, just in general. I found his dialogues and conversations to be very compelling. He's a very good character actor. And, that was basically a lot of the positives. The chemistry between Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, and Ant-Man was there. I liked the way they started the film. Very much in love, very much as a couple, very much, together. And then eventually, when things start to, fall apart, the love that you see between the two, you feel like it's okay. It lived up to truthfulness because, the backstory on them remained very true. You could tell these two have great chemistry all the way to the first one. And the inclusion of Scott Lang's daughter and the way she actually pretty much follows in his footsteps, literally. As we see her getting locked up and going through her struggles, her missing a lot of time with Antman, and that's basically the concept of the film. Antman he wants to buy his time back. And for negatives, there aren't really any arcs for the character, and Antman himself ends up literally in the same place as he did in the previous two films. On the sidewalk, thinking about how good his life is, right, as in the beginning of the film, and then pretty much after that, he doesn't do much. There's nothing really for him to do much. The MCU, I think, has this whole hallmark of jokes undercutting serious moments, unfortunately, and it continues with this film. Honestly, the comedy really didn't land well. with me in the first two films, and especially with this one because there's no Lewis. I don't know why they decided to take his character out the films, but he was that comic, that comical relief, and he's nowhere to be found in this film. And I also got like a lot of the things that they were talking about in the film, and very cliche, very gave me like this Star Trek, Star Wars kind of vibes. When everyone in the rebellion is showing up to fight these space troopers at the end, and my big issue with the film obviously is the ending. I'm not gonna spoil it, but this movie felt like it should have had some major consequences to establish Kang as this Avengers level threat. Having Scott and Hope dispatch him while a portal opens up to save them literally had me cringing. Like they could have came up with a better scene or ending, but this movie was more goofy than what I expected. It was a little more campy than the other two, but I'm hopeful that Feige can definitely right this ship and continue with this multiverse saga into the Infinity Saga levels of hope. You know what I mean? We enjoyed those, but overall, I gave this movie just because of Jonathan Majors alone. I gave this movie a 7 out of 10. So I'm sure that a lot of people are going to say that this might be a bad movie, or a lot of people are going to fall in between. But, the main character is just an excuse in this film to introduce new characters that are definitely going to have their own stories down the line. And it's sad because Antman should have been so much, much more. Although I enjoyed watching Quantumamia, it's mostly solid and fairly entertaining, but they threw a lot of things away that could have been memorable, that ended up weakening the first half of the film. But if you in it for CGI, obviously you in it for mesmerized visuals, this is the film for you. So definitely go check it out. If you liked this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Deuces.